Confirmation hearings for U.S. Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson will start on March 21st. If confirmed, she will make history as the first African American woman to sit on the court. A seat on the Supreme Court became available after Justice Stephen Breyer decided to retire back in January. President Joe Biden promised during his campaign that he would nominate the first black woman to the Supreme Court, and he kept his word. Dr. Shay Cox is a history professor at Nicholls State University, and she teaches a course on the history of women. She said that it would be influential for the country if Jackson is appointed.
For a number of reasons, and for a number of different people. So, for her and her career, this is amazing. She has a very deliberate and well done path to this for the country as a whole. I think it provides a much needed perspective on the court because our country is made up of so many different types of people, and it is beneficial to have another diverse voice on the court. Also for women, little girls everywhere, seeing this African American woman be on the highest court in the land and getting to have a say in policy and how their lives are affected is amazing and an inspiration to girls, because if you see someone who looks like you doing something, it makes you feel that you could do it too.
The last two confirmation hearings were very controversial. Justice Brett Kavanaugh's hearings back in 2018 were very contentious because he was accused of sexual misconduct by 3 women. Despite the allegations, Justice Kavanaugh was able to still get the votes needed to sit on the court. Justice Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation hearings in 2020 were controversial because it came at the time of the presidential election. There were disagreements among Democrats and Republicans on if President Trump could or should nominate a justice during an election. Justice Barrett got the vote she needed despite the partisan Congress. Dr. Cox said that Jackson is qualified to be a justice and that she should get the votes needed.
I would hope that it goes smoothly. She, like I mentioned, has a very deliberate career. She has done all of her due diligence to get to where she is. She is studied and calculated and fair when it comes to her rulings. Even some of the most famous, not a lot of people think Supreme Court ruling, or not Supreme Court, like court rulings are famous, but some of her more well-known rulings, she tries to be as fair as possible. So I think that it may go a little bit smoother. Some have said some unkind things about her so far, but I think that's their own bias.
Dr. Stuart Tully is also a history professor at Nicholls State University, and he teaches a course on African American history. He said that he expects Jackson to get enough votes to sit on the court.
If Democrats are in control of Congress for now, because I can't, I'm not a political scientist, but I think it's fairly safe to say they may not be in control of Congress come midterms. That's fairly common, though. That's about 6 months away, so they've got time to do this. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be as quick as Amy Coney Barrett. I think it's going to be probably a standard, month or 2 months. But she has the vote; she'll go through. I don't know if it's not going to be split on party lines or not, but I think it's going to be fairly straightforward.
Government is criticized for a lot of things. One of the main things it is scrutinized for is that it seems at times that they are out of touch with their constituents and that they do not accurately represent the diversity of the country. Most people, when they think of government, see the stereotype of an old white man. Dr. Tully said that Jackson's appointment could be a symbolic gesture of government trying to stay in touch with the people they represent.
Depends on what you mean by us. As Americans, it should. Sometimes... it is a complaint people have had about how government may not be representative, not just in terms of demographics, but in terms of money. Are they out of touch? Are they just a bunch of rich people who don't know how regular people live? They don't know the price of stuff. We're going through inflation right now, and people are, they're kind of wanting the government to do something, even though the cure for inflation is generally rising interest rates, which I don't think anybody wants, but it's are they in touch? So I think something like this, I did not use the word tokenism, but just let's go symbolic. Like these type of symbolic gestures, they help people feel like government is more representative and is listening to them. You know, these sort of things where it's like, hey, you know, like acknowledging the type of country that we have.
Chance Haviland is an education and history major at Nicholls State University, and he said that government does not represent the way the country looks.
No, it's still there, and honestly, there'll always be older white men in this country as long as they're, you know, we elect older people and there's a majority white population. I think that Congress and like all of our officials don't represent the actual demographics of the country, and so I don't think the old white man thing is going to fade out for the next 5 years, but you know, I hope the progress keeps getting made.
Haviland also said that Jackson's nomination is very significant for the country and that it shows that this country is progressing in the right way. Reporting for KNSU, I'm Matthew Wu.